Hi everybody, this is Zeffie Brody. Once again, I've been busy finishing my college courses and moving sim. I moved again, and I'm standing here beside myself with the lovely Drew, and I was testing a theory. I had this whole dream about this tutorial and how it was all going to work. And I got in here and found out I was completely wrong. Now, from what I remember, I don't use the Second Life camera. You know, the little snapshot feature that you got. I haven't used it since 2012. I just found out. This thing, I don't use it because, well, it's all too fiddly for me, and I don't like that stupid snapshot noise you gotta turn off in your preferences and all that other junk. It's got some nice filters in it now, which never used to be there. I just never did. What I ended up always doing was the little snapshot tool, or the snipping tool on the computer, and then take my own screenshots. The only problem with that is you'll get like people's names hovering above them or whatever, hover text and all that shit shows up. Sometimes that's helpful to me. Like I can go back on a picture from a long time ago and it'll have the names and I'll go, oh, that was her name, you know. So sometimes, you know, just for posterity when I'm taking pictures on a Friday night when I'm DJing, that is helpful to keep in there sometimes. So I've been using the snipping tool probably since 2012. And that just keeps me out of trouble, keeps my pictures in the ratio that I want them. I can avoid putting this, that, or the other in there. I do my own, you know, if I'm going to do a filter, change, you know, how it looks, I'll do it in Photoshop later, or GIMP, I mean. And that's just the way I've been doing things for years. So at New Year's, was getting photos from people, and New Year's Eve, several of my friends sent me their textures of the party, and what you were getting was an aspect ratio of 1:1, and I'd look at them and go, oh yeah, you know, I changed this here, and there they were, looking like they were supposed to. Then I saved them, thinking that was going to save that, and it didn't save the aspect ratio I was looking at. It saved it back to being a square again. So when they went on Facebook, they went on like this, because I wasn't going to go in there and physically change every one of them in GIMP or Photoshop to be the right aspect, or I was too lazy at the time. I have so many things going on. So I was thinking to myself, there has to be a way. And back in the day, you could set this texture as like in the preferences, you know, I mean, like properties. If you took off modify, then the person couldn't change the aspect ratio. So I changed it here, changed it to no mod, sent it over to Drew, and she still gets it like this, and she can still change the constraint. This was not the way it used to be in the old days, okay? And another thing, well, here's what I was taking. I was taking photos that look like this with a screenshot. But as I said, you get hover text and things like that. I don't think you get that if you're doing it with the camera. But that was okay. I'd only have people's names on for a few seconds, and then, but yeah, my aspect ratio was where I wanted it. And then I came on today thinking I was going to do this tutorial and it was going to be all this wonderful, it was just going to go straight forward like I had imagined it, and it of course did not. As I said, this was a picture I got in my inventory, and I said, I remember there being a day when you could change that. And this was one. This was the very first picture in my snapshot inventory. It was from the very first week that I was alive. It was from April of 2004. And it's like this even if you take off constrained, you know, it's basically the 2-to-1 ratio for like a profile picture. And doesn't appear squished. So I know there used to be a way, and then I did find some forums where people were complaining about it back in about 2006. So they changed something in there. Oops, everything just paused. They changed something in there, and it doesn't work like that anymore. So say I'm going to do this, and take a snapshot of me and Drew standing here, if I was going to, and I wanted it to be bigger. And that, I say that's half. But it also says right here, saving your image to your inventory costs $10. To save your image as a texture, select one of the square formats. It wants you to select the square format. Now, don't ask me why, but I was able to do this. Now mine turned out, you know, still in the 2-to-1, like you need for your profile picture and stuff. You know, landscape style. So, but I cannot mod pictures that came from someone else after they've already been taken, unless I take them out, you know. I mean, they were given to me full perm, so I took them out, and I saved them, put them on Facebook and everything. But I could have edited them, you know, myself, which is what you'd have to do. There's no fixing it after somebody sent it to you, which I didn't know. So there is my failed tutorial, if that's what you're going to call it, for that. If anyone knows a way to change them within Second Life and keep them, that's one thing. I couldn't figure it out. I don't think it's possible anymore, or if it ever was, to change someone else's pictures. I mean, you can change the view. You can certainly change the view of them that belong to someone else. From what I was being told on my friend, she has a box to tick that says, you know, to save this aspect ratio. We used to have a box that you ticked, but I think the box is obsolete now. You don't need that. There's nothing you can, I can change hers to see it to any ratio I wanted. And used to be, you couldn't do that on somebody else's picture that they put. So I'm thinking that tick box must be obsolete now, because you can change the ratio to see it in anything, any way you like now. Thing is, it's still going to be a square, and then you have to tell everybody, oh, change it to 4:1 or, you know, whatever. And I mean, they were actually saying that on New Year's Eve to me. Oh, change the aspect ratio to see it right. I'm thinking, well, how come I could just do that right now? I mean, I sent it over to Drew. She can see this just fine. So I think it's the way people are taking pictures and they're not changing this number here. And this seems to save, you know, even if I shut it off and turn it back on. I haven't relogged, but I'm sure there's some people out there that are really good photographers and know something about this. Me, like I said, I don't use the Second Life photo, snapshot thing anymore. I haven't in years. So, anybody knows anything about that, maybe it's time for me to learn something from you guys. Meanwhile, that's all I had to say. I've actually moved Sim again and got a lot better price on there. I got a lot of privacy now. And new year, new beginnings. Oh yeah, I'm an orangutan. I've modded this to have a bikini. So, surprise, surprise. Feeling a little furry. Alright, everybody. Stay tuned for the next silly thing.